Welcome into the program, everybody. Welcome in, everybody. This is Alabama Unfiltered Radio. I'm Scott Beason. Can you hear me? We're on to go. Good. Everybody, thumbs up. All right, fantastic. Great, great, great. Today is a Thursday. It is the 6th day of August in the year of our Lord. No. Wait.
It sounds absolutely robotic for some reason.
I haven't changed anything.
I have no idea why it sounds that way.
Try audition again. See if
We're going out over
See
there.
if there's a button. How about that?
Better. That's it.
Is that better?
You got it?
Yeah, that would be cleaning service. I did not do that, but anyway, it's all good. Fantastic. Welcome in, everybody. This is Alabama Unfiltered Radio. I'm Scott Beason, your humble host. Terry with us, making sure we can broadcast to as many people across the state of Alabama and around the world as is possible. Thanks to Jay as well. I hope you're having a good morning. I did say the date. Yep, August the 6th in the year of our Lord, a Thursday. The year is flying by, and there's just so much stuff going on. And look, I wonder in the mornings what I'm going to start with, and a lot of times it is the morning opening diatribe. But today, it just has to be, I mean, there is a good, just a solid picture that you can find. If you go over the article, you can find it at Not the Bee. Harris Rigby, who I think that is probably a pseudonym. I don't know if there's a real person named Harris Rigby or not. But the Vice President of the United States. Now, I have my questions about the Vice President. I can't tell if he's a created entity or if he's legitimately, this is J.D. Vance. I can't tell. I'm leaning towards the feel-good position, which is this is the genuine J.D. Vance. These are the things he believes in. This is the kind of person he is. But there are reasonable people who have reasonable questions about someone whose their name has been changed 2 or 3 times. They were an adamant anti-Trumper at one time, very close ties to very, very wealthy people who have helped shepherd or move him into the positions that he's had. Not a lot of quote-unquote real-world experience, a Ivy League person that gets you in that flow of things. But again, he comes from somewhat humble beginnings. I don't know how much of the book and the story and the look at this, I can't believe it's so amazing, is real or if it was fabricated. But I like the things he says. I like the things he's doing. He seems as if he's one of us when it comes to, hey, I've got questions. He also seems to have a solid family, and he just likes things that we would like. I mean, I think we would like. The Washington Post has lost their mind. You can go to this story at Not to Be, and there is a picture of him and his wife. He's holding a baby chicken, a chick, and she's smiling. She's petting the little chicken's heads. He's holding it. He's clearly has one of the, like a genuine laugh on his face, unless they're the world's greatest actors. But the Washington Post has lost their mind. And the reason they have lost their mind is that at the vice presidential mansion in Washington, D.C., the second lady and the vice president have added a chicken coop. And that is why the Washington Post is losing their mind. Kayleigh McEnany tweeted out, here is the first picture of the vice president and the second lady from the new chicken coop at the Naval Observatory. The Vances are seen holding one of their new chicks in the coop window. built by Carolina Coops and provided at no cost to taxpayers. Which most people were like, hey, wow, they've got some chickens at the vice presidential. Oh, but no. The vice president, this is Luke Rosiak, the vice president started raising chickens, so the Washington Post called the city of the District of Columbia on him and tried to get him cited for a zoning infraction.
Never stops.
Can you believe these people, Terry?
Crazy.
They cannot leave
It's hatred.
well enough
Pure
alone.
hatred.
It is.
Pure hatred.
But here's the thing. These types of people would absolutely do this to me or you as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
If my neighbor decided to get chickens, actually, if I'm being honest, okay, because I was going to make a a kind of a hypothetical. If I was
sure.
being honest, I'm probably the neighbor that would be likely to get chickens. And in the debate at my house is, like Lori was like, well, if you want to get a little chicken coop, that'd be kind of cool and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
But here's the hang up for me, Terry. I want mine to roam around.
well, sure.
I want them to get out of the coop in the daytime, wander around the yard, scratch up, eat the grubs. I want them to go to my house, where my neighbor's house, where the army worms might be getting their grass. I want them to go over there and kill 10 million army worms. I don't know. Do regular chickens eat ticks?
I don't know.
I know guineas eat ticks,
Oh,
but
God,
I want
yeah.
them to go off in the edge of the woods and scratch around. So my problem would be my chickens might be in all my neighbors' yards. Okay, that would be
Yeah.
that'd be the problem. But if my neighbor wanted to get chickens, I wouldn't have a problem with that. Now, if it got stinky, I would maybe like, hey, we don't need stinky, but just regular. I mean, a little bit every once in a while. You're like, oh yeah, that's the chickens. I would have no problem with that. Now, if they had a rooster and it was,
Every
crowing
morning,
at 5 o'clock, I might be like, hey, let's don't do that. But I'm not calling the city. I'm not doing this. But this is what Karen and Kyle do. Washington Post, after calling the city, found themselves a chicken expert to talk to.
The old chicken expert.
Yeah, and I need to tell you something about the chicken expert they found, Terry, because this is liberalism to a T. And if any of you listening happen to be liberal, look, y'all just don't have to do this. The chicken expert that they went to find, so the chicken expert could say bad things about the vice president and his wife having chickens at the Naval Observatory, uses they, them pronouns. I'm like, why give Scott Beason a softball pitch? Why just throw that up there? I don't even want to listen to what they say now.
No.
Because they're
No
they,
point.
them. Guess what else they do? They, them has a chicken as an emotional support animal because of having long COVID. A chicken emotional
so they can
support
take it
animal.
on an airliner if they want to.
Maybe so.
Yeah, I've seen pictures. Yeah.
Utah,
crazy.
the Utah chicken keeper has a bearded white silky bantam. Let me see if I can see this whole thing. This is impossible.
This is crazy.
This is how much time I can't see.
We got
It's
1
off
minute.
It's off
1
the
minute.
side
Sorry.
of the off the camera. So 1 minute. All right, let's see.
Yeah.
We'll be close. So who? This is the insane level of obsession that only the Post could pull off. So who exactly will be raising the hens, and why are the Vances taking on this project? For eggs, for educational purposes, for feathered pets? A spokesman for Vance did not respond to multiple emails seeking comment.
Don't blame them.
The Washington Post turned to former and current backyard chicken keepers to gather insights on what might be going on at number one Observatory Circle. We also talked to the guy who built the pricey coop. We even checked with a city official to discuss whether the Vances are following the proper protocols to raise hens in Washington. God
Only in
bless
America.
them. I hope they do well. You know, what's going to be bad is when the raccoon gets in there and kills all the chickens.
It's coming.
It's coming. We got to take a break.
Yes, we do.
We'll be right back.
Get a chance to listen to you. I just think how grateful I am and how much we need you on a national level so more people can hear you.
Scott Beason, president of ARP, Alabama Recovering Politicians.
Everybody, let's get going. Hey, by the way, Terry, thank you for doing what you're doing and letting the Sky get a couple of days off, and it's going great. And I appreciate you helping out.
You're welcome. Scott deserves it.
Yeah, he does. He works all the time, and
He needs some time off. Everybody needs a break every now and then.
absolutely. But I appreciate you helping out.
welcome.
So very big time thank yous. This is one of the more interesting stories that I have seen. I don't know if y'all have heard about it. Joel Abbott has this piece. So there was a primary, a Republican primary in, I think this is in Michigan. Yes, in Michigan. Donald Trump endorsed in the primary, and the person Donald Trump endorsed lost. Now, we really got to look at this and try to figure out what is going on here. The parents, the grandparents of the gentleman who lost moved to Michigan from Arkansas and Alabama
Wow.
in the 30s and the 40s. The person who was endorsed by Donald Trump was black. The families, so they all moved when a lot of families moved to work for General Motors and other Detroit-based factories.
Yeah.
The person Trump endorsed has expressed a Christian faith and heritage. He was born in Flint, Michigan, which is a black majority town, enlisted in the Navy in 2006, is a graduate of college with a criminal justice degree,
Wow.
has worked as federal law enforcement with Homeland Security and the Defense Department.
It's impressive.
Donald Trump said about him, "It is my great honor to endorse," I'm going to take out the name, endorse him, who is running to represent the fantastic people of Michigan's 8th Congressional District, for bravely fighting for our incredible U.S. Navy, to protecting his community as a federal law enforcement officer. He has served our nation with distinction and will bring that same fighting spirit to the U.S. Congress. As your next congressman, he will work hard to grow the economy, cut taxes and regulations, promote made in the USA, champion American energy dominance, keep our borders secure, stop migrant crime, strengthen our great military/veterans, and defend our always under siege Second Amendment. Sounds like a good guy, solid guy. Trump endorsement in a Republican primary.
Yep.
His opponent got 50 something percent of the vote. The Trump endorsed candidate, who we just talked, 50.4%. The Trump endorsed candidate got 33.2%. The person who won the primary with 50.4% dropped out of the race weeks ago. Terry?
What?
Yes. He dropped out of the race. Now, here's where the questions people are asking. Thomas Smith won the Republican primary in Michigan 8, defeating the Trump-endorsed candidate, like I said, 50-33. Smith dropped out of the race in July to endorse Al Limo, retired engineer in the Army's Tank Automotive Research Development and Engineering Center. Limo called the other candidate a Trojan horse candidate, one who is secretly liberal but running as a Republican.
Right now.
Limo, the person that was endorsed by the person who won, only got 16% of the vote. So here's the question people want to ask. Did the Trump-endorsed candidate lose because he was black, which I would say the answer is a resounding no.
Not in that area.
No, not in that area at all, and not with that sort of resume. Just wouldn't happen. That's the kind of resume that wins elections.
Should.
Now, if there was anything, and I don't see it in this article, that would prove that the Trump-endorsed candidate was indeed a Trojan horse candidate, liberal support, that kind of thing. But here's the one that people are asking about. It's a Republican primary in the state of Michigan. With all that is going on in Michigan, the Trump-endorsed candidate's name is, let me give you the first name, Amir Hassan.
Yeah.
Amir Hassan, again, is Christian. So the people are asking, did people just reject the Muslim-sounding name? Because he's not Arab, he's not Muslim, he's a black American whose family came from the South in the 30s and the 40s. They do point out that Arab/Muslim names became extremely popular in black culture in the mid-20th century as a way of rejecting, quote, slave names. Yeah. That was the whole, isn't that what Muhammad Ali kind of did?
Yes.
He joined the Nation of Islam or whatever it was.
Yeah, Cassius Clay, yeah.
They do point out, it's ironic that considering that Muslim Arabs enslaved millions of Africans too.
Yeah, but don't worry about that.
But for whatever reason, Hassan's family has the name. It didn't help him against a retired Buick supervisor who has a normal English name. I just find it fascinating. But again, the journalists don't give us the story. My question is, was there reason to believe that the Trump-endorsed candidate indeed was not very conservative? That would be one thing. Yeah, but I think it also points out that there's a very good chance that in the state of Michigan, Republicans there are saying, hey, look, I just can't go with any more of these. And you know what's funny is people will say, well, somebody's name should not matter. And you know what? I agree 10,000% somebody's name should not matter. But what's funny to me is that the left, if you dig in and you ask questions and you find out, a great example, when some states were starting to crack down on DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion stuff, when the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that, hey, look, was it Harvard that was unconstitutionally discriminating against other people, efforts were made to remove race from the application process for college scholarships, college admission, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, which makes perfect sense in a country like America. We don't care what your background is. Remember the old, I know folks on the left don't really believe it, but the old being judged by the content of your character and not by the color of your skin, that's what we should be doing.
Absolutely.
And what some of these colleges and universities were doing, Terry, is they were like, okay, fine. We don't care. We won't even look at the race. And then they're looking through the the sheets, and this has kind of been made into a parody, but it's absolutely how it works. No one doubt me on this. They're looking through and it says Cameron Smith. I don't know. We'll have to look back on Cameron Smith. Amir Sajawaji. Oh, yeah, excellent. Absolutely. In Fumi Kwanzami. Oh, yeah. Karen Jones. I don't know. Can't. So they absolutely, on the left, look at people's names to have a first impression. But if people on the right look at someone's name and maybe miss the mark completely, but they're like, "Hey, Amir San, I don't know. That just sounds not doing it. Oh, heaven forbid, Scott, you're not even you're judging a book by its cover. Well, it's not always a mistake just because you don't like it, and it is the left that has made it so that we can't. So that everybody's divided into a tribe. And so now what people are doing is they're trying to figure out what tribe people are in. And sometimes you can tell what tribe people are in by their names.
That's right.
And unfortunately, it wasn't the people on the right who did that. The people on the right wanted to judge people by the content of their character.
As they should.
It was folks on the left who decided that we all needed to be in tribes, and your loyalty should be to the tribe before your country, before standards, before values. We got to take a break.
Yes,
We'll be back.
We do.
Every time I get a chance to listen to you, I just think how grateful I am and how much we need you on a national level so more people can hear you.
Scott Beason, president of ARP, Alabama Recovering Politicians.
Back in, everybody. That was my bad, Terry. So here's the other interesting part, because this is probably the news y'all saw, not the news of who won the Republican primary in Michigan 8. What y'all saw on Fox News or wherever it is y'all are watching, and on every other station, is the fact that the Democrat nominee for the U.S. Senate who won yesterday. Now, remember, the Hassan guy who was endorsed by Trump lost in the Republican primary badly.
Yeah.
to a guy who dropped out of the race weeks ago and had endorsed the person who came in third. So weird. I would love to study that.
Yeah.
The person who won the Democrat primary, so is the Democrat nominee for the United States Senate in Michigan, born oh, you're going to love this, born on Halloween Day, 1984. He's 41 years old.
Jesus.
Is Abdul El Sayed. Now, Abdul El Sayed, according to the Meet Abdul page on his U.S. Senate seat, he studied to be a doctor, but realized it was our broken politics that was making people sick. Oh. He has dedicated his entire career to building government agencies that actually work.
Oh, no.
So he has been a government person. He restructured Wayne County's Department of Health, Human and Veteran Services, serving 1.8 million Michiganders in the state's largest and most diverse county. As a public servant, Abdul secured free glasses for kids who needed them, removed lead from Detroit's elementary schools, took on Michigan's biggest polluters, and made life-saving Narcan universally acceptable. Now, I thought a couple of those were federal grant kind of things, but I guess you get credit for it. I mean, if you sign up for a federal grant and they give you, 10,000 basketballs for midnight basketball in your city, you did it because you
fill the paperwork.
You filled the paperwork out. So that's who he is. Says recognized nationwide as an expert on improving the American healthcare system. Abdul authored Medicare for All, a citizen's guide, which explains how to build a healthcare system that guarantees high-quality, affordable healthcare for every American. He was on President Biden's Unity Task Force for Healthcare. So this guy is definitely kind of a plugged-in Democrat. Abdul lives in Ann Arbor with his wife, Sarah. Their two brilliant young daughters, Emmalee, Emmalee, and Serene. He's been a card-carrying union member of AFT and SEIU. I thought SEIU was like electricians or something. What is SEIU? Electrical? I don't know. I don't know which ones those are. So he is the candidate as a Democrat. Here's what he posted. Now, this is why people should pay attention. He posted this 21 hours ago. He's running against a Republican named Mike Rogers. Mike Rogers wants us divided, but there is so much more that unites us than sets us apart. The power is ours. This land was made for you and me.
I've heard that somewhere.
Yeah, this land is your land. This land is our. Is that not a socialist song? That they started getting us to sing as little kids in elementary school, not knowing we didn't know it was a socialist song. Our parent, but that is a socialist song,
pretty much.
And here's the point. Saeed knows exactly what he's doing. He's not a dummy. And think about it. We have people who contact me about the program and remind me, hey, don't forget, Scott. We gotta remember that there's more that unites us than divides us. And I agree with that 1,000%. He also says that the power is ours. I agree with that 1,000%.
We the people.
Now, so okay, great. I like this guy. I mean, he understands that they want us divided. So let's go see. I went to his priorities on his own website.
This ought to be good.
Let's see if I can get. Let me switch back. I got to go down where I got to see the first part because I want to read you this part. Wasn't supposed to be a politician. Studied to be a doctor. Get involved. I gave you that one. Common sense. Listen to this. Abdul is fighting for an economy that works for everyone. Health care for all, affordable housing, quality education, clean air and water, sensible foreign policy, Did that say anything?
No.
I
Talking points.
And here's the problem. People in Michigan will go to this website. They will look at what he says. I mean, do I want an economy that works for everyone? Yes, I do. Do I want everybody to be healthy? Yes, I do. Do I want housing to be affordable? Sure. Yes, I do. Do I want quality education? Yes, I do. Do I want clean air and water? Y'all listen to this program. Yes, I do. Do I want sensible foreign policy? Yes, I do. The point is, we're all for that. Now, you note this. His main tweet or post said, hey, there's things we can all agree on. There's more that unites us than divides us. Mm-hmm. Well, of course there are. But it goes back to what I think is one of my only legitimately my quotes that is worthy of being put anywhere is the left is not wrong about what's wrong with America. The left is usually wrong about how to make it right.
Bingo.
And that is the problem. They're now, look, one of the things is very often the government is responsible for the problem to start with. They help start the problem, and then they spend the next 250 years claiming they're going to fix the problem that they started. Yep. One of the reasons healthcare is so expensive is the government got involved to make it better and to provide it to more people, and by the time they were done, it became more and more and more expensive, and fewer and fewer and fewer people could actually afford the health care that they were providing. Then they got into we need to help everybody in the world get it, and so other places get it cheap because we make up the difference as Americans, and some of that has been stopped under the Trump administration, which is good. But think about some of these things. Let me see if I can get these priorities up, and I want to prove to you how they mess some of these things up. It's like they want health care for all. So how do they do it? Medicare for all.
Oh, boy.
Expanding Medicare and providing it to every single American would make it stronger. Do we really believe that we will get better health care by letting the government run more and more and more of it? I don't think so. Why is it that when people have a choice, especially in some of these blue dot cities, to go to the government-run hospital or to run to the privately run hospital? Now, I know in Alabama, UAB is somewhat of a hybrid kind of thing, okay? But almost no one wants to go to the hospital provided, quote unquote, for the poor. Why is that? Well, I don't like the service. I don't like the way they treat the patients. I just don't think it's up to speed. Why not? That is supposed to be the one that cares more about you, more about me than anybody. But it's not up to speed. Why is it when you go to these other countries that have socialized medicine that provide, quote unquote, Medicare for all, why are the people who are capable financially, why do they go to the United States? Because you can't provide everything for all. Eventually, you run out of other people's money. Now,
Bingo.
Are they wrong about some things? No. He says he opposes hospital mergers and acquisitions that are leaving Americans with fewer health care choices, nurses, hospital workers, and doctors with less power at their workplace. I want to empower the FTC to retrospectively review mergers and acquisitions and grant them the power to break up monopolies in health care. Guess what? I'm not opposed to that. You want me to tell one of the reasons, Terry, I'm not opposed to that?
Tell me.
Because I'm always told, hey, look, if and they did this, they tried to tell us all this. Hey, look, Scott, if I acquire all the hospitals in an area, I'll be able to buy all the supplies in bulk. I'll be able to put all the administration under one headquarters. I'll be able to centralize the operations, and I'll increase the efficiency, and healthcare will be cheaper for your people, Scott. Now, that's been tried over and over and over again, and magically, it didn't get cheaper.
Imagine that.
And all it did, in my opinion, just your little humble host here in the state of Alabama, my opinion was it made it so that I don't have any choices. I just I got to go to this one group. And I promise you, would bet my last dollar that somewhere in a board meeting or on a golf course or in an elevator or in a car, somebody said, well, hey, you know, what about, and somebody else said, just stop. Where else are they going to go? Because that's the way it works. See, we always tend to forget human nature. And human nature is not pretty. God told us human nature is evil. You know, a man's heart is evil continually.
Yep.
There's greed. There's in so many things, even on the right, we think, well, theoretically, that ought to work better. You know who else did that whole argument about consolidating, centralizing power and buying and all that kind of stuff? The schools. The schools are huge on that. The state of Alabama went as far as trying to limit how many new school systems there would be, because they would say, well, it's just a waste, Scott. You have multiple superintendents, you have multiple little systems, and they're all paying, you know, for the same this, that, and the other, and blah, 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 blah. But when you go to the very end of the equation, work out the whole thing, there's not a large school system in the country that is successful when it comes to educating children. They all flounder. The bigger they get, the worse they do. So, in theory, yeah, it's great. But in practice,
Doesn't work.
it doesn't work. You got to keep it smaller. It's almost like, I don't know, maybe you would think somebody like the Founding Fathers would have thought that the best government, the best way to run things is smaller and closer to home so you actually have a say.
Yeah.
It's almost like you would think somebody would have thought of that. I don't know. We got to take a break. We'll be back.
Yes, sir, we do. We'll be right back.
You can learn things, and I appreciate that.
I appreciate that, Fred. Thank you.
But that's true, and I mean that. I'm not being sarcastic. I am serious.
We have to stop kowtowing to every little thing that they have said is bad and evil, and they don't get to decide what is right and wrong. I'll bank my money on what God, the creator of the universe, says is right and wrong. It's worked very well for Western society for 2 millennia, and we've got to get with it. Got to fight the fight. We got to get after it. It's ridiculous. I'm just tired of great Americans being ripped to shreds, history going away, and all of us cowering around because we're afraid somebody's going to call us a bad name. It is time to save the republic.
You're listening to Alabama Unfiltered Radio with Scott Beason.
We are here. We are back. I was going through this fascinating thing. Abdul for U.S. Senate. He's the Democrat nominee in Michigan.
Right.
And I think it's worth talking about because we see our friends of ours, our children maybe, neighbors, people at church, at the ballpark who end up supporting more liberal candidates. And sometimes we're like, how do you, I don't understand. Why would you be, how can you be for him or how can you be for her? We do it. In the Republican primaries here in the state of Alabama, the establishment candidate is usually less conservative. They view the world more like that left-leaning thing of, hey, vote for me, I'll take care of you. You need to be managed. People need to be managed because, really those regular people aren't very smart and they don't really know what's best for them. I know what's best for them. That's kind of the establishment Republican thing, and that's how you end up with mercantilism. Hey, the government money being used to facilitate certain businesses because those certain businesses claiming they provide jobs for the little people. And that's how you get some of the education policy we get, a lot of the moving towards, hey, look, we're going to train you to do this job, put these bolts on this car. What does that do? That limits your child's options in the future, but it also spent your tax dollars not in making sure your child is educated, but in making sure your child will be a good employee, a good worker. And I've always said they don't want competitors. They want workers, not competitors. And so when someone goes and looks at this Democrat candidate's platform and reads some of the things they say, there will be things that you can agree with. Let me give you an example. Immigration. This is what he has on his website for immigration. People don't come here because they want to take away from America. They come here because they want to build in America. Now, notice what he said. When you hear that to start with, then look, I think he's being pretty honest on this website. Because my sentence would have said, people don't come here because they want to take away from America. They come here because they want to build America. He says they want to build in America, which means they're here for themselves, which I get it. You come here for a better life. I get it.
Yeah.
But he is also wrong when he says people don't come here because they want to take away from America. If we did not have the wonderful welfare programs that we have, at least for their children,
Exactly.
fewer would come. He says this is what America has always been about. We must replace our broken and unpredictable immigration policy with a clear, comprehensive, and fair system. See, and you can hear all the white women, liberal white women out there going, yeah, that's awesome. Yes, free, fair, clear, comprehensive, and fair. Now, this is where it gets, because the reason our immigration policy has been unpredictable is because different administrations have decided not to enforce federal law. If everyone enforced the federal law as they were supposed to, going back to the 80s at least, we would not have an unpredictable immigration policy. It would be very predictable. You don't come to the United States illegally.
Yep.
So note that he's here trying to fix a problem that the government and leaders on both sides of the aisle have caused. It is only unpredictable because we allowed millions of illegal aliens to stream into the United States. That's why it's unpredictable. But they're not going to ask him about that. So he says it begins with abolishing ICE. ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, has become a tool for autocracy. Its culture of aggression, impunity, and disregard for the rule of law cannot be reformed or retrained. It must be abolished. Yay! All these little Democrats, blue hair, hog rings in their noses, and all that kind of stuff. Yay! That's awesome. Abolish ICE, abolish ICE. Well, what are you going to do after that? Well, he believes in a safe, secure border. How do you secure the border?
Without ICE.
That's a good point. Think about that. So he says he believes in a safe, secure border. So you get the squishy person, and they're like, well, I'm for him. Well, yeah, but he's for open borders. No, he's not, Scott. I read he says he's for a safe, secure border. And it says he's for immigration enforcement. Well, see, now he's got both groups, Terry. He's got the let's let everybody in group. And then he's got some people who are like, well, you know, I like some of the things he says, and I'm really upset about how things are going in Michigan. But he says he's for immigration enforcement. See how they suck you in? See how they get just a little bit? Now, listen to what he says. He's for immigration enforcement. You ask yourself, how are you going to do that? Well, he answers. But under a new organizational structure that puts basic human dignity and deference to the rule of law first. So the guy in the same paragraph says, I'm going to get rid of ICE because ICE is bad. But I understand that you can't really enforce immigration law unless you have an enforcement arm. So we're going to have a new one. And this one won't be ICE, but this one will be like the human dignity illegal alien enforcement entity. Yeah. And this one will care about the law. Well, that's what ICE is doing. ICE cares about the law first. So what I want people to note is it is very easy for people on the left and some establishment people on the right to say, hey, I don't like this. But they will shut that down and open the same thing under a different name and run around and have a victory lap and tell all their ignorant followers, hey, we got rid of it. Yeah, but Joe and Scott and Terry, they still work there. They're right there. I see them. They're right there. Yeah, but now their hat is blue. See, yesterday their hat was red, and I shut down the red hats, but now they have blue hats. And I told them that they need to be nicer. Yeah. That's what these people do. So if you read this paragraph, you end up thinking, well, what do you think? Everybody gets something out of this paragraph, out of this position. So when someone comes along and the candidate reads them and says, okay, they're not for illegal immigration. They think we're being over. Well, look, I too am for immigration enforcement. It says it on my website. You can actually go to my website and you can see what I say about immigration. I would just like to see, I want us to focus on human dignity. Don't you? Well, of course, yes, sir. I'm for human dignity, and a deference to the rule of law. Well, yeah. That's how this works. And then they want a clear pathway to citizenship for those who are stuck in limbo.
No.
Well, are you against getting people out of limbo, Scott? No, I'm fine with getting people out of limbo. If you came here and you're illegal and you call that limbo, I'm for sending you back.
Amen.
But the left is so powerful, Terry.
I know.
The power of words and saying things in such a way that that no matter whose ears hear them, it translates into what their belief system is. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And they are so much better at it than we are. Now, they do have this advantage as well. And I told Walt Maddox this. I used to do these election night commentaries on the local television station up here. And Mayor Maddox out of Tuscaloosa, who's very well spoken, nice guy, hard left leaning, but I think he's an honest guy. And let me be honest too, he's a very good administrator. As far as efficiency goes and getting done the policies that he wants done, he gets them done. He's not like some of these blue dot cities where they're always promising things and they got way too many people and none of it ever happens. He makes it happen. I'll give him that. But I also told him that his advantage is that if I was running against him for governor, I think he was going to run for governor. He ran for governor against Kay Ivey. And he was honest. He said he was for a gas tax, okay? And that hurt him.
Yeah.
Kay Ivey pretended she wasn't.
But then she was.
And she was the meanest she's ever been was to get that gas tax passed. So I'll probably never forget the fact that Maddox told the people straight up, hey, yeah, this is what I'm for. We're against him for that, at least for that aspect. Our candidate pretends like she's not and then just ramrods it through. Like had the little whiteboard with your name on it if you're not for the gas tax and the whole 9 yards. I just don't reward dishonesty. We're not built for dishonesty. People didn't vote for Kay Ivey for a gas tax. Some people actually probably voted for Kay Ivey because Maddox was for the gas tax. But the other difference is, and I told him this, what happens to conservatives versus liberals when it comes to the mainstream press is Mayor Maddox could go out and say, you know what, he could say the same thing that this guy said about how he's for improving education for the children or whatever it was. And the press would go, yeah, he's for improving education. I go out on the same day, on the same stage and say, you know, I'm for improving education for the children. I could say word for word what the guy on the left says or the establishment candidate says. And I would get follow-up questions. Now they don't. They don't get the follow-up. Well, what exactly do you mean, Scott? When you say you're for education, I mean, are you for some sort of choice? Are you for... And so the headline comes out, Scott wants to dismantle the teachers union. He hates teachers, doesn't really like kids. He's mean and awful, and he's going to turn everything upside down in some sort of cockamamie scheme to mess with the taxpayer-funded public education system and warp it into something that it has never been before. Now, totally fundamentally changing and improving a system would be changing it from something or into something that has never been before. But if you make it sound like it's a scheme and you're going to change it from something like the status quo was good, all of a sudden people are opposed to my position when it comes to education. And they look at the two choices and they're like, well, the more left-leaning guy, he just loves children and he wants to help education. Scott's got some kind of scheme to do it. So not only do they have the ability to say these things that attract people from both sides of the political landscape, they don't get questioned on it. Am I over my break time?
Yep.
How far? Bad?
About 10 minutes.
Oh, my gosh. My bad. I didn't see the signal.
That's okay. You got a good one going.
We got to take a break. We'll be
Yes,
back.
we do. We will be back.
Very well for Western society for 2 millennia, and we've got to get with it. Got to fight the fight. We got to get after it. It's ridiculous. I'm just tired of great Americans being ripped to shreds, history going away, and all of us cowering around because we're afraid somebody's going to call us a bad name. It is time to save the republic.
You're listening to Alabama Unfiltered Radio with Scott Beason.
Every time I get a chance to listen to you, I just think how grateful I am and how much we need you on a national level so more people can hear you.
Scott Beason, president of ARP, Alabama Recovering Politicians.
learn things, and I appreciate that.
I appreciate that,
And,
Fred. Thank you.
But that's true, and I mean that. I'm not being sarcastic. I am serious.
We have to stop kowtowing to every little thing that they have said is bad and evil, and they don't get to decide what is right and wrong. I'll bank my money on what God, the creator of the universe, says is right and wrong. It's worked very well for Western society for 2 millennia, and we've got to get with it. Got to fight the fight. We got to get after it. It's ridiculous. I'm just tired of great Americans being ripped to shreds, history going away, and all of us cowering around because we're afraid somebody's going to call us a bad name. It is time to save the republic. Welcome back into the program, everybody. This is Alabama Unfiltered Radio. Let's get out to Duke real quick and talk to him. Duke, welcome to the program.
Man, I almost fell asleep, Mr.
Are you? Wait a minute. You almost fell asleep because it wasn't as exciting and riveting as you thought it would be, or you just had to wait?
No, I've been on for so long in here. I forgot it was on there. Really,
you forgot the golden rule. What was it said? The job of the caller is to make the host look good, Duke. What's up?
How can I make you look good today?
Well, I was rolling and I was thinking, and you wanted to talk about what I was saying, so.
Yeah, you was talking about it. You was talking about the guy that Trump endorsed.
Oh yeah, the guy that Trump endorsed that lost in the Republican primary in Michigan. Yes.
But I wouldn't know. You know what I would normally say because he was black. I would normally say that. With that part of it because hell, Tim Scott hadn't been put to a top spot yet.
Wait, Duke. Tim Scott is a flipping U.S. senator.
I ain't
what do you want him to be that is more than a U.S. senator?
I want him to have one of those spots he was begging for when he told Trump he loved him on national TV and all this stuff. He wanted a spot like Marco Rubio, left his spot, in Senate or wherever he held at one time. But
So you feel like Tim Scott had been robbed because being a U.S. senator was not enough?
Well, Marco Rubio, they took him out of his spot. He was doing good where he was.
Yeah, but Florida was trending the right way. Florida will elect another conservative person. I mean,
I wanted Tim to have that spot. Now he didn't get it. Now leave it alone.
Well, all right. I don't think it's because he was black, though, Duke.
No, but it was about Tim Scott. But anyway, this guy here, I don't think it was about black.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the fact that whose approval rating is around 34% or something like that right now.
Oh, they say the president's is, yeah.
So that may have played a part.
May have. You don't think the guy's name being Amir Hassan had anything to do with it?
Because you got some on your side that got these names like that. That guy that ran for president. That guy that ran for president, that young boy.
Vivek Ramaswamy.
Yeah. He got one of those funky names.
Yeah, did he win? No, but he is the Republican nominee.
But what I'm saying, he was recognized.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So I don't think the name
Ramaswamy
really
doesn't sound like they're just.
It's close enough. It's close enough to Toby, Kuta Kente or something like that. Close enough. But the thing is, 34%.
Yep.
Then on top of that, they got caught in a lie about the man took the knife and went down this long area, spilled up all this pain and stuff. See all these lies, and people say, know about all that right here, So
yeah,
that might play.
Oh, you talking about you talking about the reflecting pool?
Yeah, the old girl came out and said it didn't happen, and Trump said, "Damn it, she lied. She lied. Damn it, she lied."
No, look, I'm gonna tell you the honest truth about it. The guy was out there vandalizing. He was pulling up stuff that shouldn't have been able to be pulled up. But it was installed incorrectly. But that doesn't mean the point of not prosecuting somebody at sometimes is, hey, we can't make this stick. We're gonna have all this evidence in Washington, D.C. saying, hey, it wasn't put down right. And he's going to say, well, I was just out there investigating, or I just saw that it was pulled up. I mean, if you can't make it stick, you can't go through with it. What did you want him to do?
But Mr. Scott, at the end of the day, she says that it was caused by.
Yeah. Do you now?
DEI. I'm gonna say it my way. It was a DEI hire to do the job, damn it, to start with, and they screwed it up. It was a white DEI hire, probably.
Well, I can tell you from experience that there are plenty of white guys who you can send out to do a job, and they will get a 5-hour job done in 2 hours, and it will not be done right. There's plenty of those guys. I've worked with those guys.
You know, they had many DEI hires on this administration. You know, Pam Barney, she's gone. What's the other woman name that riding a horse and shooting a gun and all that? What's the name?
Oh, that was. How soon we forget. Hey, Duke, I got to go take a break, man. You're welcome. You're welcome to stay with us, but we got to go.
I got to go. I just want to get that little bit in.
You got it,
buddy.
Duke's against hiring women because they're DEI hires. We'll be back.
You can learn things, and I appreciate that.
I appreciate that, Fred. Thank you.
But that's true, and I mean that. I'm not being sarcastic. I am serious.
We have to stop kowtowing to every little thing that they have said is bad and evil, and they don't get to decide what is right and wrong. I'll bank my money on what God, the creator of the universe, says is right and wrong. It's worked very well for Western society for 2 millennia, and we've got to get with it. Got to fight the fight. We got to get after it. It's ridiculous. I'm just tired of great Americans being ripped to shreds, history going away, and all of us cowering around because we're afraid somebody's going to call us a bad name. It is time to save the republic.
You're listening to Alabama Unfiltered Radio with Scott Beason.
I want to finish up on this thing about the congressional candidate. What was it? El Sayed Abdul? Is that his name? Yeah, sounds kind of like it. It's not on every page. It just says Abdul. And I was pointing out that there are plenty of things that these folks on the left will say that sounds fairly reasonable. Their answers would be not very good. But I want to point out 3 things that he absolutely says that you should be aware of. Because the Democrats will be for him winning that United States Senate seat in Michigan. Mm-hmm. He wants Supreme Court reform. He says, I understand that the Supreme Court itself has become a major impediment to democracy. Now, remember, when they say our democracy, when they say democracy, they don't mean what you and I think. They don't mean the country as the country was founded. They don't mean the republic. They mean the reason they started using the word democracy, the reason the progressives in the early 1900s started moving the conversation in America away from a republic to this term, the democracy or a democracy, was so that they could move further and further towards socialism. That's why they use the term. And he's admitting that the Supreme Court has become a major impediment to democracy, to the march of socialism, to their desire for this socialist utopia. The Roberts Court has moved to limit voting rights, civil rights, and reproductive rights while expanding Trump's power. I support Supreme Court reform, including ending the lifetime appointments, imposing limited terms, and allowing the same number of appointments for each presidential term. So he wants a revolving Supreme Court that doesn't have the protections of lifetime appointments. I don't love the lifetime appointment protection, but that was created at a time when the founders thought, you know what, people will actually take their oath to the Constitution seriously, and no matter who the president is, they will try to appoint Supreme Court justices who will actually adhere to the original intent of the Constitution. Now they want a Supreme Court that bends with the political winds and gives them protections for their new democracy. So he's for Supreme Court reform. That's not the shocking part. This is the part I want people to see. Republicans in the United States Senate could not, according to them, manage to garner the votes to pass the SAVE Act. There's been very few pieces of legislation that are as simple, as straightforward, easily understood as the SAVE Act. Even those knuckleheads in Washington could get around to reading the 20-something pages of the SAVE Act. There's also very few pieces of legislation that line up perfectly with morality. Hey, you can't cheat, or we can't cheat. Every legal vote from a legal U.S. citizen should be counted, but you got to vote on time, and we got to do everything we can to stop the shenanigans, stop people voting multiple times, stop people voting for other people, stop voting, illegals voting. Just do the right thing and have a clean, fair election. That's it. That's all it was. But we couldn't get enough Republicans because the Republicans in the United States Senate were more married to this, we must save the filibuster. Because it gives me more, because here's the honest truth. It gives me more power if we have this pseudo fake filibuster thing where no one actually ever has to filibuster. We just have to get this procedural vote passed where we get 60 votes for us all to agree to vote on something that only takes 51 votes. This is one of the tenets. This is the shortest one that I can find of the Democrat senators' campaign promises. The filibuster has been used by senators to shield one another from having to take hard votes. I believe that it is anti-democratic and it should be abolished. So the new Democrats, arguably headed to the United States Senate, if Michigan continues to do things the way it seems to be going, are openly saying, get rid of the filibuster. We need to, and all of us have been saying that if Democrats get in charge of the U.S. Senate, they will get rid of the filibuster. Because you can get rid of the filibuster by a simple majority. Now, Republicans can't do it to pass the SAVE Act. Republicans can't do it to try to make sure that at least we know the people who were elected legitimately. They don't have the cojones or the strength to do it. But Democrats running for the Senate are promising their voters, hey, we'll get rid of it. So you have to ask yourself, or we have to ask ourselves, whose side are some of these Republicans in Washington, D.C. on? They're not on our side. They're not on the regular American people's side. They've had very few issues that as many people support it as people do the SAVE Act. And Republicans are the reason we can't get it done. But Scott, we got people like Mitch McConnell. He's in the hospital and stuff. We just don't have. Yeah, right. It's always that way for Republicans, isn't it? We were just right there, Scott. We were right there, but unfortunately, Sally couldn't be there that day. I mean, it was important. We were just right there. We're so close. By the way, can you donate to the Republican Senatorial Committee? Because we were right there. I mean, we were going to, but we were just right there. Just $50. That's all we need. It's $50. We got to take a break. We'll be back.
Yes, sir, we do.
Every time I get a chance to listen to you, I just think how grateful I am and how much we need you on a national level so more people can hear you.
Scott Beason, president of ARP, Alabama Recovering Politicians.
You can learn things, and I appreciate that.
I appreciate that, Fred. Thank you.
But that's true, and I mean that. I'm not being sarcastic. I am serious.
We have to stop kowtowing to every little thing that they have said is bad and evil and they don't get to decide what is right and wrong. I'll bank my money on what God, the creator of the universe, says is right and wrong. It's worked very well for Western society for 2 millennia, and we've got to get with it. We've got to fight the fight. We've got to get after it. It's ridiculous. I'm just tired of great Americans being ripped to shreds, history going away, and all of us cowering around because we're afraid somebody's going to call us a bad name. Welcome back in, everybody. Hey, don't forget Brian Dawson's podcast, 1819 News, the podcast. You can find it over at YouTube or any of the other places where you usually find your podcast. 1819 News, the podcast with Brian Dawson. Let's go out to your phones. Papa B, welcome to the program.
Hey, Scott.
Hey, Papa B, how are you?
Doing good. So, your little comments a while ago reminded me of that commercial with the guy with the fishing pole and the dollar on the end of it. Oh, You almost got it.
Oh,
No,
so
you
close.
almost
I remember
got it.
that. What was
Yeah.
the advertising? Like insurance?
I don't know. It was something like that. But it was so apropos to what goes on with the Democrats and Republicans.
Yes.
Republicans are doing it, but it's more disgusting when the Republicans do it. And here's why: because the Save America Act is so popular and so necessary to saving the freaking country.
Yes.
Look at there's so many ways to cheat. Look at one of the ways that I figured out, okay?
Okay.
So you people, why does it take so long? Why does it take so long? Well, all of these voters are on the rolls, okay? So when the vote is cast, the Democrats can go in there and they can figure out who hasn't voted.
Mm-hmm.
And they can go in and manufacture those ballots, okay? They know who has voted, so they know who hasn't voted. How many times do we see interviews? Hey, they said I voted, but I didn't vote.
Right.
Or I went to the polls to vote, but they said I had already voted.
Mm-hmm.
How many times do we have to see that kind of scenario play out before we realize just what's going on?
Yeah, no, and I think everybody knows that is happening. And the people who are fighting tooth and nail to protect that system know it's happening. And I've said before, Papa B, and I don't know what your take on it is, but I think a number of Republicans, probably some U.S. senators who are Republicans, benefit from corrupt, illegal voting, and that's part of the reason they're absolutely opposed to it. And it's
very well might.
It's more than just that the uniparty, whoever runs the uniparty knows that they have to have corruption, otherwise the people will right the ship for the most part in the United States, and they can't allow that. I mean, so they're against it. And how in the world you can have 85% of Americans supportive, and it's probably higher than that. That 15 just said no because they didn't know what they're talking about or didn't want to answer the poll correctly or whatever. How can you not get that done in the United States?
That's stupid.
Yes.
Absolutely. Here's what I think. This is what I think. I believe that there are some Republicans that they don't want the full accounting of the American people to come and weigh down on them. They are part of that corrupt machine.
Yes.
And they know that if the American people were to have their way, their little scam would go away. And they like the scam. So
Yes.
they like having just enough to, keep the balance, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't want the full scope of the American people to come down and
Well, I think you're
down.
right in that they don't really want to do what the American people want to do. It was a lot of Republicans who were for having open borders, when the American people were for having closed borders and let's slow this whole thing down. It was Republicans that were helping do it. Oh, we gotta have somebody to pick the lettuce. So we gotta have somebody to do the tomatoes, whatever it was, build the houses.
Hello, George Bush.
Yes, exactly right. And
Right.
so they were right there, and that's the problem. If you just let the people decide, we would have elected people who would have said absolutely shut the border down. So they need these phony ballots. They need this weird, broken, corrupt election system we have. Otherwise, those crazy populists will get in charge.
Yeah, right. And not only that, but their bosses, the corporate folks,
Yes.
they don't want it. And therein lies probably the biggest why it's not able to happen. When Pfizer rings, Senator whatever's phone, they answer.
Mm-hmm.
But when the American people want something done, well, they kind of shrug their shoulders.
Yeah, I mean they don't really know. Well, like this guy out of Michigan, the Saeed guy that's going to be the Democrat nominee. Again, I don't disagree with everything they say. He says he wants to get big corporate and special interest money out of politics. He supports legislation to overturn Citizens United Supreme Court decision. That's the one that said corporations were basically people, and therefore they don't have limits. But he wants to ban corporate spending through 501c4s. He wants to ban super PACs and 527 groups. He supports public election funding and campaign spending caps. Now, you know, what's bad is, Papa B, you and I are supposed to have a knee-jerk response to that and say, absolutely not. But I'm not 100% sure I'm opposed to all that. I would love to see. Can you imagine if a couple of U.S. Senate candidates in the state of Alabama couldn't be funded from out of state, and there was a limit on how much their campaign could spend, and that people outside who are pretending like, oh, I'm just using my First Amendment right, are spending giving them $1 million worth of ads. If all that stuff was cut out and those two guys or those two girls just had to run around the state with almost no budget, hoping that I can convince Papa B to be for me, and Papa B would go out and get me 20 votes from people he knows, I'm not sure we wouldn't do better that way. But who benefits from this? We stand there with our shields and our swords out defending First Amendment right to go spend $20 million of my own money trying to get Sally Jane elected. Who actually benefits? It's not the people at large. It's me. Sally Jane knows I got her elected.
Mm-hmm. Well, you got to remember too that the people that are making these little speeches up for these politicians, they're not making these. They're not putting these words together on their own.
No,
these are well choreographed, well researched, even down to the words and inflection of how they say it and what they say and how they say it. So I would not. I mean, when a politician starts going off on stuff like that, I throw it out the window because it's worthless. They can, it's just blah 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 to me. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Now I will say this: when a politician tells you who they are and what they want to do the first time, believe them.
Yeah.
And that's what Al Saeed and that crowd want to do. They want to completely destroy this country, and they've said it. Believe it. Mm-hmm. Now, after that, when they say all those other words, don't believe it. you know? So anyway.
I got you.
All right, guys. Well, listen, thanks a lot.
Hey, thanks, Papa B. I appreciate it. Let's take another break. We'll be right back.
All righty.
Welcome back into the program, everybody. So the number here, by the way, 1-800-289-9228, 1-800-289-9228. I don't know what's happening. Hold on. How about now? How about now?
Everything seems fine to me.
Oh, I think your iPad mic's on. That's what it is. Yeah, I think that did it. Very, very good. Sorry. Here's one of the controversies that has been out there lately. The Washington Post has reported, who wrote this story? Tara Kopp, Natalie Allison, and Noah Robertson. Let's see if I can get the headline for you because it's trying to make me do a paywall. I'm not doing it, and I'm not going to take the time to go find it somewhere else. Start with Trump Hegseth clashed at Camp David over Iran missile depletion concerns. At a Camp David summit this weekend, President Trump demanded answers from Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth over extreme munitions shortages. Now, here's the interesting thing about this, or some of the interesting things about this. Number one, if the United States has a missile shortage, like a missile shortage to the point that we should be very, very concerned about whether or not we have enough missiles to continue on with what we're doing. Have we depleted our munitions storage inventory to the point where it puts us at risk militarily at home and around the world? That is a very important, huge question. Mm-hmm. But why would the Washington Post want to run that article while we're having a conflict with Iran and we're in the middle of some sort of negotiations with them? Now, yeah, some of the reporters are treating it like, well, that's why Donald Trump is so focused on getting a peace deal now, is because we're running out of munitions. But you don't go and report that and tell the enemy that if it is indeed true. Now, here's part of the problem for the people at the Washington Post. There are some questions about whether or not this actually ever occurred. Turns out Trump is adamant that we don't have a shortage. Kayleigh McEnany goes out and says that this never happened. I went and found another article about let's see if it's this one right here. If it says, Donald Trump was unaware of U.S. munitions shortage. That's the Jerusalem Post, prompting Camp David clash with Hegseth. Again, the White House is saying that this never happened. This clash did not happen. And that whoever gave it to the Washington Post tried to peddle it to multiple news outlets all at the same time. So again, here we are in the United States. We don't know. I found one article that says a source says. A source? What source? Exactly. Who's the source? Who can you tell me who said it? Now, if you want to go and dig a little deeper, you'll find stories like this one by Rebecca Schneed, who says that Senator Mark Kelly, remember Mark Kelly was one of them that advocated that something along the lines that soldiers don't obey their orders.
Yes.
Which would be treasonous. I guess it's treason. I don't know if I'm sure somebody will say, well, no, it's not treason when it's a military person. It's some other word, but in our world, it's treason.
Whatever. Yeah, it is.
Right?
Yes, absolutely.
Senator Mark Kelly, a retired Navy captain and former astronaut, earned the ire of the Pentagon last week for raising concerns over U.S. weapons stockpiles that have been depleted by the Iran war. Now, let me ask a question about some of these comments. The Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is going to launch an investigation into Senator Kelly's remarks, accusing him of leaking classified information.
Uh-oh.
Mark Cancian, a senior advisor with the Center for Strategic and International Studies, Defense and Security, says Kelly is not wrong about those weapons shortages. Now, here's part of the question. And look, I just know how these people in the press work and act. And the problem is they could tell the truth. And they've told the truth from time to time. But there are times when the truth doesn't suit them, therefore they don't tell it exactly. So I asked this question. Say you've got a basketball program down at your local high school. And when they practice, we'll go to the old school gym, okay? It's got the two main goals, and it's got 2 goals on each side. So 6 goals total. And, the PE classes use the side goals, and in the games you use the end goals. And so you have basketball practice. You probably need 6 basketballs to have basketball practice. At the most,
minimum.
Okay? Now, a basketball rack usually has something like 10 or maybe 12 basketballs because you might want every single person to have a basketball, and you're doing ball handling drills and you're doing all kind of stuff, okay? Well, something happened. There was a saboteur at the high school, or the PE class kept getting into the good basketballs, and, they were kicking them, and so now 2 or 3 of them have warps on the side, and one of them's flat, okay? The number of basketballs that we have has now been depreciated, decimated, the depleted, to use the words they're using.
Mm-hmm.
So we've gone from 12 to 9 good basketballs.
Okay.
And then the coach got mad because 3 of them got tore up by the PE class. He threw one of them, and it ended up bouncing off a sharp object in the gym, and now we're down to 8. So our stockpiles of basketball have been extremely depleted. Now, is the news story in the high school, newspaper, the Maroon and Gray, does it say that the stockpile of basketballs for the varsity basketball team have been greatly depleted? Does it say, hey, we've lost some basketballs and we got to get some new ones? Does it say, hey, we've lost some basketballs, but we've got enough to do the job? Which way are all these articles being written? The articles are being written that we've depleted our stockpiles.
Mm-hmm. Negatively.
Well, the first time you shoot, say you have a box of 100 rounds of 22 caliber stuff. You're just going to go out and plink, right?
Sure.
You had one box of 100. Right after you shoot the first one, somebody writes an article and says, hey, Scott's got less rounds than he had this morning. Well, that's absolutely true. Absolutely true. But where in these stories is the part that says we don't have enough to get the job done?
Exactly.
Because depleted stockpiles makes you think, holy crap, we're almost out.
That's the key.
Now, we could be, okay? All right, that's where they're pushing us to say we're almost out, which would cause Iran to say, hey, there's no need for us to make that. We don't need to make that really, really hard deal. Yep. We'll make the easier deal, or we'll make no deal at all because they're running out. So now you got 2 sets of possibilities here, okay? Think about this. This is where it gets deep, Terry.
Okay.
What if the stories from people like from Mark Kelly and others are not to make us get a worse deal or to make Donald Trump look bad, which is what the superficial, that would be your first level of thinking, okay?
Mm-hmm.
What if it is to make Iran say, no, we can keep this going because they're almost out of bullets or out of munitions, out of missiles.
Yeah.
And because if this keeps going, some people make a whole lot more money.
Absolutely.
some people end up getting to make the war just keep going on and on and on. And some people benefit from maybe possibly something happens that causes a complete upheaval, a complete change in Iran. There are actually people, some of our friends in the Middle East, that apparently have pie in the sky plans for breaking Iran into like 3 groups, 3 places, 3 different countries.
Yep.
Well, you can't do that if you get some kind of peace deal this week or next week.
Yeah, we can't have peace breaking out.
So what if, Terry, this is not the surface thing to make us all think, oh my gosh, Donald Trump doesn't know what's going on, or maybe it's to make the deal not happen at all.
So the military-industrial
complex can keep moving,
more money.
Keep doing. Because again, all these stories are about the stockpiles being depleted. Well, of course they're depleted. How much depleted? How far down is this? The word they're using across the board makes you think we're almost out.
Which is bad.
Which is bad.
Yes.
Are we almost out? I don't know. Because you can't trust these people.
That's right.
But I can't find the article that says, well, we're down 50% or we're down 60%. And then if the article did say percent, I want to know, well, what does that mean? Did we have 1 million of them and we're down to 500,000? And how many do you have to do something? I want real hard numbers with someone who can tell me, are we in a strategically poor position because of it, or did we just shoot part of our box of rounds? All this stuff, you just can't. That's what I dislike about the press, is that they either don't ask the questions or just run out and write stories like they're told, or they try to steer us in one direction, think one thing, and we just don't know because they historically have not been honest with us.
Exactly.
And that is the frustrating part. Did I already miss another break?
That's okay. We need to hit one now, though.
Let's go do it. We'll be back.
All right, let's do it.
Program, everybody. This is Alabama Unfiltered Radio. The number here, 1-800-289-9228, 1-800-289-9228. There's just sometimes that is difficult for me to tolerate some of the news that comes out of our federal government. This is a story by John Hayward. There is a committee in the United States House of Representatives called the House Select Committee on China. I don't know who's on it. I don't know who the chairman is. I think I may know one person that might be on it, not 100% sure. But this is the kind of stuff that bothers me. So listen to this. This is the sub-headline, or I'll give you the headline. Congress warns China deeply embedded, quote, deeply embedded in the U.S. internet ecosystem. The House Select Committee on China published a report on Tuesday that warned the Chinese Communist Party has, quote, infiltrated and weaponized America's communications networks, despite federal action intended to hold Beijing's influence at bay. What gets me about this is that people have been warning about China's infiltration of the United States at every single level, from technology, the internet, to farming, to food supply, to the university systems, to research, to just buying property, to all these things for years and years and years and years. I'm not talking about 5 years. I'm talking about years and years and years. Regular citizens saying, hey, this is happening. And then for in 2026, now look, I'll give them credit for pointing out, because they didn't do it last month, and they didn't do it last quarter, and they didn't do it last year, so at least they're doing it in the summer of 2026. But to just now figure out that Chinese state-owned carriers remain deeply embedded in the U.S. internet ecosystem, to just now figure that out is one of the reasons that we can't deal with the problems we have in this country. The report entitled Stranger Pings, Chinese telecom companies infiltrate U.S. infrastructure, is a clever nod. I don't really need a clever nod. You know, is that some of our problem in Washington?
Yes,
that
it is.
that somebody thought it was cute and cool to call it Stranger Pings?
Yeah.
Says it noted that firms like China Mobile, China Unicom, and China Telecom have retained extensive unregulated footprints in the United States, even after their telecom licenses were denied or revoked. Because China has no intention to stop surveilling Americans, to stop being involved in anything and everything they possibly can in the United States unless they are made to stop. And don't forget, every time Donald Trump tries to put a tariff on them or tries to force the Chinese to do anything, it is members of Congress and the Senate who run out and say, "Oh, no, I can't believe you're being so mean to China. You can't do that. We need them. We need their junk that they make so that things will be cheap at the Wally World." That's what they say. And then they have the nerve to come out and say, "Hey, oh my gosh, I can't believe the Chinese are heavily involved in our internet and communications infrastructure." Well, duh. Who do we buy the stuff from?
Exactly.
And Eubanks here telling us about AI. You remember talking about how much of the AI infrastructure comes from China. The Chinese are all about it. Hey, build 10,000 more of those things. They're all good for it. Just like they made I forgot the percentage of the windmills they made. How many of the freaking solar panels did they make? We pass all these things. Oh, we're going to save the planet. Make China billions and billions of more dollars. Says China-linked companies often plead ignorance when asked about the beneficiaries of their services. The House Select Committee on China learned at its hearings that parent companies based in the PRC could instruct their U.S. subsidiaries to provision servers and connectivity for unidentified parties without disclosing who the ultimate beneficiaries are. Staffers at the U.S.-based subsidiaries make a point of not asking about their identities. So let me get this straight. So we pretend that the big Chinese company can't do something here, but we allow them to have subsidiaries here. And since it's a subsidiary, it's not the same as the head company. So if I get one of my sons or my daughter to, do business with you, and we call it Beason Inc., but then Mac's doing it and he's Mac Inc., and you're going to pretend like I probably won't know anything about it? That's what we're doing? Let's go out to some of the phone calls. Do we have time, or is it time for a break? I can't hear you. What?
Let's hit this break so we can get back
All
somewhat
right, we
on
hit
time.
this break, and we'll go to these calls directly on the other side. We appreciate you
There you
listening. We'll be back.
Every time I get a chance to listen to you, I just think how grateful I am and how much we need you on a national level so more people can hear you.
Scott Beason, president of ARP, Alabama Recovering Politicians.
Welcome back in, everybody. Not a lot of time left. I think mute yours, Terry, your iPad. There you go. Welcome back in. Let's get out to some of your phone calls. We'll take these in order. Rokon Tour, welcome to the program. I wondered if something had happened to you. Happy Thursday to you.
Yeah, it's that time of year to actually work and pay some taxes in.
Yeah, I mean, people are depending on you. How are we going to do socialism if you don't work?
That's a good question, but they're going to depend on people like me because I'm from that generation that saw the television debuts of both Wonder Woman and Wonder If It's a Woman.
Well said.
How long have you been working on that one?
Oh, it takes me a little bit. That's why I took 3 days off.
Worth it.
I'm gonna steal that though, Rokon Tour. The premiere of Wonder Woman, and I Wonder If It's a Woman. I like it.
Yeah, you can steal it. Socialism at its finest.
You got it.
Hey, with the China thing, just remember everything that comes out of Washington has been vetted through how many different clerks and consultants and advisors and political nominees. And so they had to put something out about China because you had the hacking of the water systems last week. So this way we can say, hey, somebody's digging in our system and we actually are investigating it. So they got political cover. Then you got the stuff they're really not talking about in general media over here with the Chinese and the Filipinos clashing over fishing rights and over land rights.
Yes.
To the point that we sailed the carrier strike group USS George Washington into the South China Sea as a show of, hey, back off of the Philippines.
Yeah, and look, I don't know what we do with China. I mean, again, China, in my opinion, was one of the biggest blunders of the last century. Allowing, maybe we couldn't stop them from going communist, maybe not, but we did not have to go over there and try to bring them out of the dark ages. I don't know if there's a better argument against or for ignoring human history and human nature than taking a communist regime and doing everything we can to just pour massive amounts of American and global money into it and then think they're not going to try to rule the world. I mean, it is a monster that we created, and now we're probably going to have to deal with it for 100 years, and it could get unbelievably terrible. But hey, look, we're not exactly smart. We helped create the freaking Soviet Union, too. They could have been crushed, but no, we didn't do that. It seems as if we have people, Rokon Tour, who have an affinity for socialist/communist systems and the way they work.
Well, and again, you also have to look at it through the lens of what is politically expedient and what is politically best for me, person in charge.
Today.
We didn't go into the Soviet.
What happens today?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we didn't go into the Soviet Union, even though they took American troops when they were rolling through Germany and never released them back to us. Eisenhower was like, we just fought a war. We don't want to fight another war. That's going to look bad on us.
Mm-hmm.
Nixon was like, well, China, if we can like elbow them away from Russia, maybe we can play nice guy and pull them over our way, then we can change their minds. No, China's been sitting over there, to quote my father years and years ago, China's sitting over there like a rattlesnake, not saying a thing, not saying a word, and you're just feeding it, and it's going to bite you eventually.
Yes.
So again, this whole report that came out that was a lot of sound and fury signifying nothing was just a way of saying, hey, we hear you. We're trying to do something to make you feel safe, and we're trying to let China know, hey, we're on to you. But wink, wink, we knew you were doing it all along. We just have to say something to appease our people.
Yes. I don't disagree with you. I think we probably have a number of leaders in our country, or at least influencers. The tech industry is so integrally tied with China in general. And look, those are revenue streams and cash streams, and China, people will sell their country out for $1. And since probably, I don't know, maybe the 80s was the last decade where it seemed as if people had some sort of obligation to the United States and understood that the United States was a great system that people bled and died for, and it was a system that gave people the opportunity to become wealthy. And I mean, maybe that was the very end of that thought process. And then the whole globalist thing, just move your company wherever and sell your stuff back to the people of the United States. And if it goes, belly up or gets crappy, you just move away to another country and get you a compound here, and you're a global citizen. It doesn't matter if you were American or not. There's just no loyalty in some of these classes of people, and that's one of the reasons that bothers me when our side of the aisle, Rokan Tour, just rallies around people who will sell us out and don't seem to have a loyalty to the United States or her people, but we're supposed to rally to defend them from whatever, the socialist or whoever's after them and their fortunes. It's hard for me to get excited about defending the crony capitalist, not just plain old capitalist, the crony capitalist.
Agreed, and that goes back to your point that you've been making the last couple of weeks, which is don't bash the young people for looking at socialism because we created them. We went from being capitalist and nationalist to being globalist, and then it was all about what I can get globally. So now we're looking at how do we protect ourselves from that? Well, maybe more government overreach.
Yeah,
which is never a solution, but that's where we've moved to.
Yeah, no, I agree completely, absolutely. The fact that we allowed capitalism to get a bad name by defending crony capitalism, by defending people being abused. I mean, people have their issues with Teddy Roosevelt and the whole trust busting. And look, I don't know where he really was. I mean, I get it, but he did bust up some of this centralization, the monopolization of certain industries. And it seems like today that people on the right are obligated to defend the centralization of more and more power, more and more money. And they claim, well, they got the monopoly through the free market system, usually by utilizing government to give them a fair advantage. We just got to think a little bit more about what we're doing. And, I've talked about it and you're agreeing with it. I can't blame young people for seeing what they see. We've built this system that's made it difficult for them. So, but nobody's believing our warnings yet, Rokan Tour, but they will.
Well, and to your point about centralization and giving certain companies an edge that happens in defense world. I mean, how many major defense players do we have? 3?
Yes.
Let's talk about transportation, the railroads, and how the government propped them up and pushed them trying to get the expansion going west. And railroads are so integral now, they don't even pay Social Security taxes because they're exempt from it because they went to government and said, hey, kick us out. So they have their own retirement system.
Right.
I mean, nobody knows that. I mean, but it's because the government gave them an unfair advantage and they had so much power, they could choose to do what they want to do.
Right.
Unlike small town Joe Bob in Hertzahatchee, Alabama.
Right. No, you're right. Absolutely right. So good call, man. I appreciate your Rokan Tour.
Y'all have a good one.
Yeah, you too. Do we need to take a break, or can I go to another quick call?
We need to take a break before we take Sam.
All right, then we see Butterbean up there and Kyle up there, and
Yes,
we'll get to
sir.
everybody as quick as we can. I'll keep my talking down to to somewhat of a minimum. We'll be back. History going away, and all of us cowering around because we're afraid somebody's going to call us a bad name. It is time to save the Republic.
You're listening to Alabama Unfiltered Radio with Scott Beason.
Every time I get a chance to listen to you, I just think how grateful I am and how much we need you on a national level so more people can hear you.
Scott Beason, president of ARP, Alabama Recovering Politicians.
Kyle was going to be, I thought he might be a new caller, but we'll take these in order. Sam from Pike County. Sam, welcome to the program. I hope you are well. Sam?
Hello, Terry. Thank y'all for taking my call.
Absolutely.
I'm doing very well. That's right. I'm doing yard work, so I'm either really good or really bad. But it's a beautiful day. First off, I've actually got something to share that's worthwhile. But before this, I just want to chime off about this Wonder Woman. Remember, Wonder Woman, when she left an island full of women.
Yes.
She showed up on the show. She didn't have a pride pin or anything. The first thing she did was get her a man. Do you remember there was a guy named Steve on the show, and he was Army Intelligence? Oh, it just gets better and better.
Mm-hmm.
And a pilot. He was a big watch guy. So I'm just saying Wonder Woman. There was no Wonder Man. I'm sorry.
Look, did you like the modern version of Wonder Woman with the what's her name, Gal Gadot or whatever?
I like the way the critical drinker put it when he was talking about movies. Do you want to see it again? I saw all those once, and they were, they were mediocre in my. I saw them once, but I'm not going to ever see them again. That 1971 or 4, but there's Wonder Woman.
I think 1984 was the second one.
Yeah.
I thought the first one was good. They stretched it out a little weird, a little long at the end. But, I thought it was entertaining.
All right, now, Scott, I need to get to this. This is what's important.
Okay.
This is why you let me on. All right, no, in all seriousness, just a couple of days ago, you can check on YouTube, and the updates are there. The FCC banned several foreign-made technologies. And I'm not joking, all surveillance devices. Drones, anything with a camera on it coming from China. The in-country stock you can still buy, but a load of routers got caught up in it. They found to be compromised. So, the technology that can be shut off remotely, a bunch of it's already here, and the FCC, they literally are banning stuff right now to try to slow it down. But, man, if someone has ill intentions, they could... short of an EMP, it could just be a secret attack like you've never seen. That's what I wanted to share.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. It's a really good point. TP-Link was one of those. I have some little Wi-Fi booster things in my house that were TP-Link, and that's one of the brands that was heavily impacted by the national security concerns. Good call, Sam.
Hey, thank y'all. Have a good day.
Hey, thank you. Let's go out to Butterbean. Can we go to Butterbean?
Hey, man, how you doing?
Hey, no day in paradise, Butterbean. How are you?
It always is.
What's up?
I'm doing all right.
I'm doing good.
I saw a clip from the movie Snowden last night. I watched it a long time ago. I hadn't watched it lately. And I saw a clip where he was discussing whatever he found about when he found out how much the surveillance was and that we were doing back then. That's 2013. And, we went around to countries in the world asking, to let us surveil on their people, what have you. And the country that stuck out to me was Japan said, no, we don't do that. That's illegal in our country. But we did it anyway to them. But here's the thing that caught me about that clip. He talked about how we had infiltrated infrastructure, like already back then.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't remember that. And so anyway, I think we're kind of in advance of that. And, I think I'm a little, if you transform that to the AI data centers that we're building here, that's probably part of the whole thing.
Hey, well, let me ask you a question, okay? This is a question I think that we ought to ask. And I just don't understand it because I'm familiar enough with governments and bureaucracies and monopolies like water systems and power companies and stuff like that, people that don't have competition, okay? They don't run lean and mean. You would agree with that, wouldn't you, Butterbean?
Yeah.
They have more people.
For sure.
Yeah, yeah. They have more people than they need. How do we still have water systems? Now, look, when they say that the water system got hacked, how much of these water systems are being run by computers when 20 years ago, you were sitting in the main office, Butterbean, and you said, you put down your coffee, and you're like, "Hey, Scott." And I'm like, "Sir, look, go down and turn on the valve for the chlorine because we hadn't chlorine that in vat 3. Yeah, make sure you got the right amount in there. Don't get too much again." And so I walked down there and opened the valve. And then somebody said, "Well, let's just make it automatic," which was fine because, you didn't want to remember to do it, and I didn't want to remember to do it. And then somebody said, "And let's put it on the internet. Let's make it so that somebody from the outside could turn on or off our valves." Who thought that was a good idea, even if you didn't think there was a bad person in the world somewhere? Who thought that?
All right, so I will tell you what I think about that is that we probably do have a lot of automation now.
We do.
But I would say that we have backup systems or backup capability in case it gets taken down because here's what I think is we were out in advance of this, and the other countries are trying to catch up.
Yes.
Because they became aware from that movie, say, for instance, and from Edward Snowden, that we had already done that, and they probably hadn't even thought about that. But we'd already infiltrated their systems back in 2013.
Yeah. Now, my guess is, Butterbean, they were thinking of it too. You know what I'm saying? As soon as somebody realized, like at my house, I've had computers for a long time, just like you have. But then when the internet came along, there was that first day where I had to plug in, and yes, it used to be dial-up and all that. But as soon as my computer got out on the internet and I started doing things on the internet, I run the risk of somebody coming back through the back door into my computers. That's what I don't understand is why, even if it's automated, why some of this stuff is even plugged up to the internet. I can't hack into your computers if there's not a way to do that. Do you understand what I'm saying?
You can have an internet that's not out on the internet.
Yes. That's the technical way to say what I'm trying to say. Yes.
Yeah, you can have that, yes. And that probably, or I would say most likely would be the case.
Yes.
But I don't know for sure. I'm just saying but it just made me think that if we were doing this back in 2013, which I didn't realize we were that far advanced back then, I'd forgotten that in the movie. And I'm thinking about now, what can we do now, and what can, the other countries are probably, in a way, trying to protect themselves from us doing that. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. And they may be trying to, China may be trying to do it back to us. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
No, I agree. It's all out there now, and I personally think we ought to be less reliant. My guess is that somebody said, "Well, I'm down here at the central office, which is way away from the 5 water stations we have, or whatever you want to call these things. I don't know what they use in the.
But you can still build a local local internet that's not on the internet.
Correct. and the guy downtown can call up and say, hey, Butterbean, how's everything going there? It's going good, boss. Thank you. I don't have to monitor that stuff. Anyway, that's my advice. I think we'll take it.
Yeah. So I just saw a clip last night, and I was thinking about that, and I said, you know, if they get this quantum computing, they can hack into anything. They can have a lot of power. They can
do a lot of stuff. You're right about that. Hey, I got to take a break, Butterbean. I appreciate it. We'll be back. I'll bank my money on what God, the creator of the universe, says is right and wrong. It's worked very well for Western society for 2 millennia, and we've got to get with it. Got to fight the fight. We got to get after it. It's ridiculous. I'm just tired of great Americans being ripped to shreds, history going away, and all of us cowering around because we're afraid somebody's going to call us a bad name. It is time to save the republic.
You're listening to Alabama Unfiltered Radio with Scott Beason.
Welcome back into the program, everybody. Let's get out to your phone calls. Kyle's back. Welcome, Kyle. I hope you're having a good Thursday. Hey, Kyle. Did I lose Kyle? Terry? Hey, Kyle.
He said, Wong Jong.
Hey, Wong Jong. I thought I was going to Kyle. Hey, welcome into the program, Wong Jong. How are things in Hertzahatchee?
Hey, this is Kyle.
Now I got Kyle. Sorry, Wong Jong.
There you go.
Hey, Kyle.
That's okay. Hey, you know, we were talking about the munitions being a little low.
Yes.
Hey, you know, that's probably not the case. And let me tell you why I say that. I'm a Marine, and in my experience, that kind of information is not available to just anybody. Okay?
Right.
I mean, it's not readily available to people in the service that don't need that kind of information.
Right.
And chances are that kind of information is really, really tightly guarded. So, you know, for anybody, especially somebody who calls himself a journalist, to say that they know that, you know, the president was mad at Pete about these munitions not being what they need to be, I think that's all kind of hearsay.
Well, they've been bumping this around for a while. They started it during the Ukraine deal, and look, I mean we've been going through a lot of missiles and munitions and sending them overseas and the whole 9 yards. And we had U.S. congressmen saying, "Hey, no need to worry, it's going to be great because we're gonna spend untold billions of dollars paying Americans to build more, so don't worry about it." So all that's been percolating along. And these articles are written based on, quote, unquote, a source says. I mean, what did they do? Call me or you, Kyle, and get us to say it so they could write a story?
Right. What are they considering a source?
Exactly. I used to, in the old days, I would get Big Dave when I did the show just in Birmingham before we switched over. And I would say, "Hey, Big Dave, say this." And he would say it off the air. And then I could go on the show and say, "You know what? I heard somebody say." Now, look, we told everybody that that's how we did it. But it was to prove the point that a less honest group could absolutely say, "Hey, I heard." And that's how some of it's done.
All right. And, of course, now with the Internet, they've got it to where anybody can make that website to where it looks official.
Yes.
I mean, you know, in fact, there was a buddy of mine. I do some web developing, and there was a buddy of mine that bet me that I couldn't make the Obamacare interface. Okay.
Okay.
So I went on, and in 15 minutes, I had made the Obamacare interface, and the difference was mine actually worked.
Well, I wish you had gotten paid what they paid for their website.
Absolutely. Well, the big thing about it was, though, the idea is the source. Okay, so even if they go on the internet and they look for something that's official, Joe Schmuck the Ragman can make something that looks official now on the internet, with AI and all that stuff.
That's right.
So, you just got to kind of clarify that source stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you. Absolutely. And we've seen how many stories have been written because some journalist saw something posted on social media and wrote a story off what, Knucklehead Jones posted down in Elba.
Right, actually, exactly. And so then, somebody who has ill intentions could catch that and run with it when it's not been verified or even anything at all. And then all of a sudden it's a story then. See?
Yep. Hey, there's no doubt about it, Kyle. I remember the biggest example of that in my personal life was I gave a speech in Coleman, Alabama. I used the phrase empty the clip. The local writer for the local little newspaper was not there for the start of the speech, so he didn't know or she didn't know the connection that quote was used in, or the connotation it was used in, context, because I used it at the start and then I finished at the end. They write an article saying that I want to, quote, empty the clip on illegal aliens. It goes from them to one of the Birmingham papers, from the Birmingham paper to a national paper, to a national story, to an international story. But and no one ever called to check for the context, because all they wanted to do was run the story that, Scott wants to shoot illegal aliens.
Right. They wanted to make that the story. And so they're going to make what information is available to them. They're going to make that fit their narrative.
Yes, and then they all, claim to be innocent because they wrote a story based on someone else's story.
Right.
Yep, crazy.
We just got to kind of watch context on that kind of stuff. All right, Scott, Terry, y'all have a good one.
Hey, buddy, I appreciate you, Kyle, man. Good call. Thank you very much. Now let's go out to Wong Zhong. Wong Zhong, Jing Zhong, Hertzahatchee. Welcome in.
Thank you for having me on. You've been going at the Chinese all evening. Now listen. We have people over here at the Dixie Dragon Deli of Hertzahatchee. And they said to call you. And they said to tell you to write down the acronym they want you to know.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Ideological gossip never outdoes real American Chinese noodle entrepreneurs. Ignorance. and the best dish over here is the legislature special. Pork hoarder's surprise. And you don't know what the surprise is until after you pay for it, just like Alabama legislature. Have a great day.
Hey, what was the name of that restaurant again? The 60 Dragons Deli?
No, it's the Dixie Dragons Deli of Hertzahatchee. DDD of Hertzahatchee.
Dixie Dragons Deli.
You need to come over. You love legislature supplies. Because you don't know what you're getting until after you pay, we tell you.
I got you. Are there any cats anywhere near the vicinity?
Well, every once in a while over at the campground at the First Congregational Church, they do come up missing a few animals. and the restaurant, the dairy, is not too far to the south end of Hertzahatchee. So, you can put 2 and 2 together, but very, very protein-full meal.
I got you. Thank you, Wong Zhong.
Okay. I don't know what to say about that.
Well, if you've never been to Hertzahatchee, Terry, it's an all-American place. You can't get more American, more Alabama than Hertzahatchee. The senator calls. the pastor from the First Congregational Non-Denominational Church of the Commons calls. Wong Jong lives over there. I mean, it is a big – they have a prison. Kay Ivy's one of Kay Ivy's multi-billion-dollar prisons and a casino. They're all in the same area over there. It is a solid place.
Pawn shops.
Over in
Lots of
Hertzahatchee.
pawn shops.
Oh, I'm sure we do. I mean, that's a good deal. How much time we have?
We have about a minute.
1 minute.
Yes, sir.
Candidate for Congress named Malat Kiros, M-E-L-A-T, I think that's how you say it, Kiros, K-I-R-O-S, who is one of the new rising stars for socialism on the Democrat side, congressional candidate there, said there is nothing more American than socialism.
What?
Yes. Socialism has proven to deliver on the values of the Declaration of Independence more than capitalism has. You know, when we talk about capitalism, you know, one of the things that folks talk about with capitalism as a theory is that it's responsible for, delivering people out of poverty here in the U.S. But that's not the entire story. She says the pull out of poverty was social safety programs.
Wow.
And that it is socialism that delivers life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We got to take a break. We'll see y'all tomorrow.
Yep.
Be good. See y'all.